Hello and welcome to Rupee Rakshak's weekly market updates. In this weekly segment, we dive into the latest developments in the global and domestic markets, which can help you navigate your investment journey with confidence, especially in these highly volatile times. To break into the market movement and share actionable insights, I'm joined by Mohan Krishnarao, who is a financial expert with an experience of more than 15 years. And he's also a founder of Rupee Rakshak. Welcome to the show, Mohan.
Thank you, Vijesh.
So before we jump into today's discussion, let's set the stage with a quick look at how Indian stock markets performed this week. To do that, I'll hand it over to Mansi. She's a research analyst here at Rupee Rakshak. Mansi, over to you.
Thank you, Bijesh sir. So now looking forward to the stats of Nifty. Nifty closed around 113 point negative today. That is around 0.49% negative for the day. And the support level for next trading session would be around 22,900 followed by 22,750. And the resistance level would be around 23,460 followed by 23,500. Now coming to the Bank Nifty closed around 221 points negative, around 0.46% negative for the day. And the levels for next trading session would be around 47,800 followed by 47,550. And the resistance level would be around 49,000 followed by 49,230 points. And the Sensex closed around 329 point negative, around 0.43% negative for the day. So that's the stats for today.
So Mohan, last week we spoke about the potential impact of Trump coming into power. And now he's the president of the country. And he spoke a lot about the citizenship and the tariffs that he's going to impose on many countries. How do you see this for Indian economy?
In fact, Bijesh, last week has been a very busy week with the US elect president, Mr. Trump, taking over. And as soon as he took over the last week, he was busy signing many executive orders. And there's been a lot of tension across the markets, not just for American citizens, but for citizens in a lot of other countries, how this new regime is going to take up and what will be the impact on the global scenario.
Yeah.
So just to talk about India for your question, two things stand out very clearly, especially the first one on the birthright citizenship. Because a lot of Indians, especially in last 10, 20 years, migrated to US, especially the techies.
Right.
And they have been still living there. And many people have just gone on a work visa and worked there for 5, 6 years. Meanwhile, they had their babies.
Yeah.
And all the babies born in US by birthright become citizens of USA.
Correct.
Now the measure, the new, as per the reports that I have, US executive order titled Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship, aims to restrict birthright citizenship. So this says that this would affect children born in the US to parents without legal authorization or those holding temporary visas such as work visas, for example H1B, student visas or the tourist visas.
Yeah.
Now the question is, who will be affected?
Right.
Because people are worried, especially those Indians who are born in US, they have the birthright citizenship. Whether they will lose this facilities, American citizenship, is the worry that is there. Right. In fact, the good news is there are exceptions to this executive order, and there is exception on the retained rights. The exception is that children born before the effective date of the policy, this will not be applicable.
Oh, okay.
The sigh of relief is all those who are already born and in whatever time till this new policy takes into effect, they will not be losing their citizenship.
Correct.
So people can feel good that if your son, daughter, whoever is born in US, they will continue to get the birthright citizenship. So they'll get all facilities as a US citizen. Just that whoever is going to be born after this policy due date, there's going to be a 30 days window. So after the 30 days window, any child that is born where parent does not have the permanent in US or does not have the US visa or not a green card holder, there will not be a birthright citizenship. The second thing obviously is for those people who are working in US, and there is going to be the very harsh immigration policy towards particularly the H1B visas, and not only the legal permits that are there. In fact, there are a lot of people in US, not just from India, from many other countries, who are illegal immigrants. They've been staying there. Particularly, we know of Canada, and a lot of people, especially from the Punjab area, they, of course, from a lot of other places also, they go to Canada, and through Canada, they come into the US, and they permanently settle there and without proper citizenship, and that's a matter of concern for any country.
Right.
We also have Rohingyas and a lot of other border issues where people illegally enter into the country, and it's very difficult to control the resources of the country, who is actually using it.
Yeah.
So the Indian government is already working with US, and that's a good thing to happen, because the same thing can be reciprocated in India also. That's what we also want to do. Every country for that matter, they want their illegal immigrants to be out and deported.
Correct.
So there's a very strong policy. And secondly, for the legal permits, that people who are skilled workforce, particularly the techies who are in high demand in US, I don't think there is going to be much of impact, because there is a need for in the current world of the AI and the analytics, that a whole lot of things that are changing, and there is huge demand, and we have very great talent in India. I'm sure there's not going to be much of an effect on that. So if at all, if any effect is there on India, it's going to be an indirect effect, but nothing to worry about for Indian markets or for Indian citizens.
Okay. Now, this was about India. What do you think the impact could be on the global economy in terms of business and other issues?
Yeah. If I have to list down these things, let me talk about 3 or 4 things with a paucity of time. The major things that we are looking at is the first one being the tariff on China.
Right.
Now, before the election, President Trump said that he is going to look at over 60% tariff to be imposed on China, and 25% or more on the BRIC nations. But immediately after taking the oath, now it is a mellowed down talk, that it has become little easy, and the way he's talking, it looks like I'm going to have a meeting with the Chinese president, and let's discuss, and it looks like there is a more reality right now. And generally it happens before elections, in the heat of the election talk, people do lot of things, but when it comes to realities, so you cannot impose just like the tariffs. And of course, the very reason why he got elected is based on the promises he made to the US citizens. That he is going to reduce the inflation, and he is going to make American first as a major policy, and he is going to reduce the oil prices. So there are promises which he has to keep. But what I feel is the tariff on China is going to be a limited thing. Even BRICS, for that matter, we need to wait for more clarity on that. The second major issue is the Russia-Ukraine war. Because this has to stop. It's more than 2 years that it is continuously running. The moment it initiated, we thought the maximum in 1 month, 2 months, this war will be over. But for the might of the Russia, but it is not happening. Now that if this Russia-Ukraine war stops, so President Trump is already saying that he was going to have a meeting with Mr. Putin and also Mr. Zelensky, and we need to watch whether, and if that happens, that's going to be a big news for India as well as for the world, because war is bad for any country for that matter. And now commodity prices has to slow down and it has to reduce, for which the war is important. Even for the oil prices to go down, it is important that Russia-Ukraine war stops. And the third is the energy, that oil prices that we are talking about. Now, there's already the promise of drill baby drill. So if the president of America wants to produce more and more oil and increase the supply of oil so that the price comes down. And the news reports also says that he's been talking to the OPEC nations and the oil producing countries to also reduce the prices, increase the production and reduce the prices, so that overall, if the oil prices go down, it is good for the inflation to control, not just for America, for every other country. So that's a good move. So we need to watch how this is going to take effect. And the last one is the gold price. With the weakening rupee, the gold is hitting all time. while crude oil is going down, the natural option is the gold, and also the kind of the announcements that are being made on crypto coins.
Yeah.
So this is making rounds, and the crypto markets is also going up with a lot of renewed energy in the crypto areas, with many big companies coming out and launching their coins, and hoping that Bitcoin would become an official way to clear the US debt.
Yes.
But these are all just the hearsay kind of things. So we need to wait and watch how these things will take shape. But of course, there's going to be a big impact. I am personally wishing that this Russia-Ukraine war stops. Also, there is some kind of relief in terms of Israel and Hamas conflict also.
So wait and watch is the key for this. So now let's talk about the much anticipated event of the year, Indian Financial Budget 2025. So this is a question that is that everybody wants to know, all the salaried class wants to know, all the individual wants to know. Will there be any changes in the tax slab? Do you foresee any changes that are happening in the tax slab in this upcoming budget next month?
It is always that every time there is a budget, the focus is always on the taxation. So always there is a hope that maybe this year it will reduce. So I'll have little more money to spend, or pay my EMIs. So if you can recollect, in the last budget happened in the month of July. It's only about 6 months that we are seeing this full year's budget. And let me just recollect what was the slabs currently running, which was announced in the last budget. So we have two regimes that were functional from last 2 years. One is an old regime, other is a new regime. So if I look at the tax slabs in the new regime, up to 7 lakhs there is no taxation in reality. So it is 0 to 3 lakh nil, 3 to 7 lakh 5%, because there is a standard deduction, so it looks like there is no tax. And then 7 to 10 lakhs is 10%, 10 to 12 lakhs is 15%,
Right.
12 to 15 lakhs is 20%, and over 15 lakhs is 30%. So beyond this, if people are earning between 50 lakhs to 1 crore, there is also a surcharge. So if your income is between 50 lakhs to 1 crore, there is a surcharge of 10%. Surcharge means if you are already paying 10 lakhs as a tax, you have to pay additional 1 lakh. Similarly, for 1 to 2 crore income, there is 15% surcharge, and for over 2 crores, there is 25% surcharge. All these are still attractive in the new regime compared to the old regime, where it is you have to climb the tax deduction through ATC or your PF or insurance premiums and health insurance, ATD, ATC. All this is not applicable in the new regime. You directly pay the percentage of the taxes. So there is a big shift from people who were all following the old regime. They have moved into the new regime. So what do we expect now in this new budget? In fact, there has already been much done in the last 6 months. That the new regime, there has been up to 75,000 rupees standard deduction, up to 7 lakhs there is no tax. Now what can you do in this budget? Can you make it up to 8 lakhs? Because if you increase the minimum tax slab, what will happen is your tax net will become smaller. So I don't personally expect much of a relief for the salaried class in this budget, except for dealing with a little bit of ease of filing the taxes, and maybe an extension in the standard deduction, maybe another 10,000 or 25,000. From current level of 75,000, it can go up to 1 lakh rupees, just to give little small boost. Other than that, you can't expect much, because just recently the much has been already given.
Yeah. So Mohan spoke about that last budget was presented in 6 months ago. In that budget, there was a big, after that budget, there was a big hue and cry over the increase in short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain. Do you think, to please the investor community, do you see any changes happening there in this?
Generally, Bijesh, the finance ministers, not only in India, in any country, would never look at investors. They always look at the common people. So they don't do anything basically to increase the capital market expansions, and more so they will look at how much more taxes can I take and how can I increase the tax net, which was just done in the month of July. So it came into effect from 23rd July.
Right.
There was increase in both.
Yes.
Long-term capital gains was increased from 10% to 12.5%.
Yeah.
Short-term capital gains on equity was increased from 15% to 20%. Only respite was that the long-term capital gains was across all, including your real estate, everywhere it was brought down to 12.5%, and this was an increase on both the sides. So now what do you expect in 6 months? It cannot be further increased because already a lot of increases happened.
Yes.
What can probably happen to cheer the capital markets is there is another component called security transaction tax. Every time you buy and sell a stock or a bond or any security, there is a tax that is added. In last 3-4 years, this capital gains tax was not high. Short term and long term both was low. To compensate that, we had this STT, security transaction tax. If the finance minister wants to do something good to the capital market, there is this option that she can remove this STT.
Yes.
If this STT is removed, this will be a huge thing for the stock market in India, particularly because today everybody started trading into the stocks, and there is banking sector which is crying for lack of FDs. So people are not, especially the youngsters, they're not keeping FDs, they're moving all their money to either mutual funds or to the stocks. So there is a big presence of people in the stock market, and if the security transaction tax is removed, it's going to really increase and boost the sentiments for the stock market investors.
Great.
Maybe it can happen, it may not happen, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But if it happens, it will be good for the market. Other than that, nothing big that can be expected in terms of stock market investors.
So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Till then, take good care of yourself and happy investing.